4 out of 5 students at the University of North Florida disagree with Governor Ron DeSantis' push against DEI programs and classes offered there. Results of a recent poll are now out. It surveyed more than 800 students, as well as a handful of faculty, staff, and others. It also asked whether they felt the courses were indoctrinating students. News for Jax reporter Joe McLean live on the UNF campus tonight with a closer look at those results. Joe?
Right. This survey really asked students and other stakeholders about some of the specific classes and programs that have been targeted by the DeSantis administration. And there was overwhelming support for those classes and programs being offered here. The respondents of the survey also pretty heavily rejected the idea that there was any indoctrination happening here.
In a February Osprey's Voice survey, 827 students and a few dozen other stakeholders were asked about how certain classes and programs affected their college experience. The survey asked about the educational value of specific classes targeted by Governor Ron DeSantis, who described them as tools of political indoctrination and a waste of university funds, including courses titled Sex, Race, and Class, Race, Gender, and Politics, Introduction to Diversity in Education, and Introduction to Anthropology. The survey also asked for students' thoughts on whether certain programs and initiatives have benefited them, including the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, the Intercultural Center, the Interfaith Center, the LGBTQ+ Center, and the Women's Center. In all of those questions, more than 2/3 of the respondents who participated in them said those classes had educational value and that the programs positively affected their education. And even when the results included those who didn't participate in the courses or programs, 79% still said they either somewhat or strongly support their existence on campus. 8% said they strongly or somewhat disapprove, and 13% said neither. When asked if they feel that these courses indoctrinated students, 73% said definitely not or probably not. When asked whether they feel that these courses are discriminatory towards students, 80% said definitely not or probably not. And when the survey asked if respondents agreed or disagreed with the removal of DEI programming and coursework, again, 80% said they disagree or strongly disagree. Marlo Crosby is the vice president of UNF's chapter of Students for a Democratic Society, a group that's been heavily critical of the governor's stance on DEI initiatives.
We're tired of our education being filtered through the lens of politicians that don't actually walk the campus that we do, don't live the lives that we do, and don't learn the things that we are. And I think that they should just let us learn what we wish to learn. And what we do with this information is up to us.
I also spoke to the current UNF student body president, Nathaniel Rodifer.
What do the survey results say about how students feel about DEI?
When we talk about events of indoctrination or discrimination against students, students really aren't reporting having those experiences. What he's alleging is happening at higher education in these institutions isn't what's happening at UNF, and that's also being sustained by student opinion.
Now, a majority of the people who took this survey were women, about 55% identifying as female. Also, 2/3 of the people who responded identified as white. You can find more of the results from this survey inside the story on news4jax.com. Reporting live, I'm Joe McLean, Channel 4, the local station.